Hi everybody. In this video we're going to go over the JSON Bulk Updater feature of Sprint Game Manager. This video assumes you already have familiarity with the general Sprint Game Manager behavior. JSON Bulk Updater is going to allow us to bulk update and visualize our metadata or our JSON settings, but across games. It doesn't matter what we have selected over here. We just go down to this button and we'll kind of open up kind of its own little space here in Sprint Game Manager for managing this. The bulk updater works on a single field at a time. So when we come in here right at the top, we can see field to update. We have these bulk update options. We'll come back to this. For now, we're going to say no change and select this preview updates. This populates a table down here with our chosen field. We can see we have the games listed, so all games were brought up. We have the current value of the JSON setting, we have the new value, and then we have the action that will be performed if we do the update. In this case, since we chose no change, the new value and the current value is the same. But it allows us to kind of visualize all of our games for the player setting in this case. Let's go ahead and choose a different field. I'm going to go ahead and choose editor. Once we change a value up here, the table down here doesn't change until we run the preview updates again. Now we'll go and we can see we grabbed the editor or publisher setting. We can sort by current value here, and we can kind of look across here. The first thing I want to highlight with this updater is using the table to do your updates. Here I see I have Coleco and Coleco Industries. That's an inconsistency. Let's say I wanted everything to be just Coleco. In this case, one option I have is to actually just make my changes right here in the table. This new value is editable. So I can click in here and just paste what I really want in here. And we can see now for the ones where I changed the new value, we immediately see a change value action. I see here this will update 7 records. And I now have this include option that I can uncheck to skip it or to include it. Let's go ahead and just update this. We just performed those updates, and now all those files were changed to have the updated value. So that's one way we can use this bulk updater, is to simply update the table directly. Now let's look at a case of using the bulk update options. I'm going to scroll down here in our editor/publisher view, and here I see another set of inconsistencies. I have INTV, INTV Core, and INTV Corporation. That should be all the same value. So the value I really want to use for this is INTV Core. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in my clipboard just for ease of use. And now I'm going to go up here to the bulk update options. And I'm going to say I want to set the value. So I'm going to say set the value to INTV Core. We'll go ahead and preview those updates. And we'll see here that the new value, using set value, it sets the new value on all games. That's for sure not what we want. We only want to update the ones that are truly INTV Core. So with great power comes great responsibility here. We do not want to perform these updates because we would wipe all of those changes. It's going to do 115 updates. What we can do here is we can go to the filter and we can say, I only want to have values where INTV is in the name. And so now we see we're only going to update 8. The ones that were already correctly set won't be updated, but these will be. And we can sort by action here to see all of the updates. That's one of the key pieces to this updater is the table shows you what will be updated. So what is in this table is what will be updated. So a combination of filtering out rows we didn't want and doing the bulk updates got us to what we did want. And that's to perform those 8 updates. Let's go ahead and do that. The next example here is going to be why I really created this updater, and what I wanted it for was the ability to update this INTV or JZ INTV extra settings. I'm going to go ahead here just on backgammon and go ahead and create an entry that I want to propagate to all of my games. Sprint Game Manager here will recognize any KBD files and palette files that you have. But I'm going to create this entry, put it in my clipboard, and then we'll jump back into the updater, and I want to put this value on all of the games. Now that we have our setting that we want to propagate, we'll go ahead and go back into the updater. We're going to choose this time the JZ INTV extra setting. We'll go ahead and choose no change initially here just so we can kind of see what we have. And sure enough, we already have some settings on some of our games, including our backgammon, that one we just added. But then most of our games don't even have this setting defined yet. So in this case, we're going to want to do an append. We want to preserve the existing settings and just add this to it. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do a preview updates, and it's good to take a look at our new values here just to make sure we're getting what we want. Our current value for this particular one has a palette set. Let's see what the new value is. Sure enough, we've appended, but I can see a problem right away. I don't have a space there. So let's go ahead and add that space. We'll do a preview, and now we're properly spacing out our tokens or our flags on that setting. The other thing we have to be careful of here is we already had a KBD setting here, and of course our backgammon had the one we had already created. So if we go in here, we're actually adding this hack file setting twice. That's not what we want. To fix that, we could go here and just uncheck the include on those, but maybe there's others. So the more safe way to do it is we can go up here to contains, and let's go ahead and grab this portion right here and close out. And we're going to say where the current value does not contain this setting. So now we've filtered out all of the items that already had a KBD hack file set. Those are no longer included, and so we'll only add this to ones that don't have that already set. And here we can see the ones that weren't defined. It's going to go ahead and define it. Sprint Game Manager is smart enough to drop or strip our leading space there when the value was empty. Let's go ahead and perform these updates, and now we've added that to all of our games. Since we're filtering by things that didn't have this, all of our games kind of go away. Due to this filter, we can clear that. I should point out here a weird behavior that happens is it kind of, when we did our clear filter and it reloaded, it's like applying this a second time. So the new value shows it like double, but the current value is correct. To fix that, let's go ahead and do our no change preview just to get it back to where we're not updating that, not running that update twice. And we can see that we have our item. Let's say we changed our path from palette and KBD to some other path. It would be a nuisance to change our location of our KBD file if we didn't have this, because of, we have over 100 settings that we'd have to update. Here we could do a replace text to fix paths if we did move it. The other thing I wanted to highlight here was let's say we didn't want this setting anymore. Maybe the Sprint supports it at a more global level and we don't need it on every game. That's fine. The way to do that would be to replace text, and we'll say replace this text with nothing. We'll preview those updates, and we can see it's just going to remove every place that has that in it. Let's go ahead and perform those updates here in our demo. And another thing we could do is we could say where a value is empty, because now we have this empty setting here, we could use the remove entry and preview that. And here now, all of the places where JV int extra is empty, we can go ahead and perform updates and completely remove it again. Let's clear our filters here, and we're back to all those not being defined again. So that's another item here. I would not recommend doing remove entry unless you have blank entries for the JV INTV extra, or maybe you do it on the save high scores as well. And then the last thing that I'm not really going to cover in this video, but I'm just going to mention it, is this regular expressions. Don't worry about this. We can do a lot without this. We can do most of what we want to do. But if you want to get a little bit fancier, this does support regular expression patterns and replacements. The input string is your current value, and it can work. And you can do some interesting things with that. But if you don't know what a regular expression is, don't worry. I wouldn't worry about it. But the AI chats are really good at building those if you needed to get a little bit maybe fancier with your replacements. I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and end this video. Just wanted to show the bulk updater and how it uses this table preview, and what's in the table is what is updated, and you're welcome to make changes on the new values right in the table or use the bulk update options. Hope people find this useful. Thanks for listening.